Welcome to Fix It with Jeff. In today's video, we're going to test your gearhead knowledge. Do you think you can guess the year, make, and model of the following cars? Please like this video, comment, and most of all, hit that subscribe button. Let the fun begin. For our first car, it may have had terrible gas mileage, but you were always center stage when driving this beast of a machine. The 1971 to 1973 Buick Riviera. The Riviera was redesigned in 1971 with flowing and dramatic boat tail styling. The two-piece fastback rear window was inspired by the '63 Corvette Stingray coupe. The only engine available was Buick's own 455 cubic inch V8, producing 315 horsepower and 330 horsepower with the Grand Sport package. Riviera sales for 1971 to 1972 dropped to 33,810, the lowest to date. In 1973, some design changes were made. The changes, however, only led to a marginal increase in sales. But in recent years, buyers have showed increased interest in acquiring this unique vehicle. This iconic car, with its combination of aesthetics, high performance, and competitive pricing, established the model as an icon of the motoring world. The Jaguar E-Type, also known as the XKE, was produced from 1961 to 1975 and could reach a top speed of 150 miles per hour. The E-Type was based on Jaguar's D-Type racing car, which had won the 24 Hours of Le Mans for 3 consecutive years beginning in 1955. The E-Type employed what was, for the early 1960s, a novel design principle with a front subframe carrying the engine, front suspension, and front bodywork bolted directly to the body. No ladder frame chassis, as was common at the time. It was also rumored that on its debut in 1961, Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful car ever made, but this statement hasn't been fully confirmed. If you wanted muscle and class rolled into one complete package, this manufacturer's car was your first choice. This is a second-generation Chevrolet Corvette produced between 1962 and 1967. Since starring in the TV show Route 66, it's been widely known as America's sports car. In 2004, Sports Car International named the Stingray number 5 on the list of top sports cars of the 1960s. This looks like another video I can do. Well, just 20 Corvettes were built. The '67 Chevy Corvette L88 is one of the rarest and most valuable Corvette models ever made. This car premiered in 1969 in Japan. What car do you think it is? How did anyone see with those mirrors so far forward? The first generation Fairlady Z S30, also known as Datsun's 240Z or Z car, was rolled out in December of 1969 and won a big market not only in Japan, but in North America and other countries as well. It was the first car in Nissan's Z series of sports cars. This car manufacturer is far from a household name, but the results speak for themselves. The Hudson Hornet was produced from 1951 until the Hudson Motor Company went out of business in 1954. All Hornets from 1951 through 1953 were powered by Hudson's high-compression straight-six H145 engine. In the 1952 model year, a factory option twin H-Power, which featured twin one-barrel carburetors, was available. First-generation Hudson Hornets are legendary for their NASCAR racing history, and Jay Leno lists the 51 to 54 models as one of the top 10 of Americans' most collectible cars. This car was also featured in the Pixar movie Cars as the character of Doc Hudson, a retired Piston Cup champion. If you went back in time about 50 years, you would see these cars parked at all the hottest spots in town. Who could mistake those massive tail fins for anything else but a Cadillac Eldorado? This iconic Caddy is a 1959 model. The model was made from 1952 until 2002. All Eldorados were characterized by a 3-deck jeweled rear grille insert that replicated the texture of the front grille. This front rear grille treatment was shared with the Fleetwood 60 Special and would continue through 1966, with textures being revised each year. We're not sure if we'd take this bad boy on the highway, but a nice country drive would do the trick. What's your guess on this one? Born in 1932, Alfa Romeo's P3 model was the second monoposto or single-seat race car, just behind the ambitious Tipo A that sported twin straight-six engines. Designed by the highly accomplished Vittorio Giano, the P3 wasn't entirely devoid of unique attributes. Powered by a straight 8-cylinder engine effectively comprising two 4-cylinder blocks, each with its own supercharger. This race car claimed at least 6 46 Grand Prix racing victories during its heyday in the early to mid-1930s. It was the first genuine single-seat Grand Prix racing car. If you want to get your hands on this piece of luxury, you'll need on an average of $15 million to get one. The Ferrari 250 GT was produced in limited numbers in the late 50s and early 60s. An example of the 250 GT, California Spider SWB, recently sold for a cool $17.1 million. A custom-built fiberglass body replica of the 61 to 63 250 GT California Spider was featured in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Worth over $1 million, what rare car do you think is pictured here? Another rare Ferrari on this list, only 272 288 GTOs were produced from 1984 to 1987, so you better have some deep pockets if you like to own one of these. Ferrari did not federalize the 288 GTO for sale in America. Americans wanted the car anyways and obtained it as a gray import vehicle. Several Formula One drivers were offered GTOs by Enzo Ferrari. In 2004, Sports Car International named this car number 2 on the list of top sports cars of the 1980s, behind its German rival, the Porsche 959. This is one of the first luxury cars produced by this company. What car are we looking at here? Lincoln Motor Company was founded in 1917 by Henry M. Leland, naming it after Abraham Lincoln himself. In February 1922, the company was acquired by Ford. They produced the Continental Mark II from 1956 until 1957. As the most expensive American-produced automobile at the time, the Mark II was marketed against the Rolls-Royce and the Bentley. Produced solely as a 2-door hardtop coupe, the Mark II was largely hand-assembled, sourcing its V8 powertrain from the standard Lincoln line. The Continental Mark II was featured in the 1956 film High Society, starring Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Grace Kelly, and Louis Armstrong. After its sale to George Barris, the 1955 Lincoln Futura concept car, which uses a Mark II chassis and powertrain, was converted to become the Batmobile of the namesake 60s TV series. What teenage guy didn't dream about having this all-American classic in their garage? The Pontiac Firebird was one of the 20th century's most popular muscle cars, with over 100,000 units sold, mostly in the 1970s. A 74 Firebird was driven by Jim Rockford in the pilot movie and first season of The Rockford Files. Every following season, Rockford would change to the next model year. However, in the sixth season, which was from 79 to 1980, Rockford continued to drive the 1978 Firebird from season 5, as the star, James Gardner, disliked the 1979 model's restyled front end. Deliciously old school, but still tastefully refined. What's this pictured high-end car? One of the most iconic sports cars of all time, the Lamborghini Diablo was produced from 1990 until 2001. It could top 200 miles per hour. The Diablo was named after a ferocious bull raised by the Duke of Veragua in the 19th century, famous for fighting an epic battle with El Chocoro in Madrid in July of 1869. If you can't name who manufactured this car, then you best turn in your gearhead badge as soon as possible. This Phase 2 ZB Dodge Viper was produced from 2003 until 2007 and boasts a massive 500 horsepower engine. Its initial price started around $100,000. Introduced at the 2007 North America International Auto Show, the car was similar to its predecessor on the exterior but had undergone notable mechanical changes. This car was developed in post-war America. What is this pictured vehicle? The first generation of the Ford Thunderbird was a two-seat convertible produced in 1955 to 1957, the first two-seat Ford since 1938. It was developed in response to the 1953 Motorama display at the New York Auto Show, which showed the Chevrolet Corvette. The Corvette, in turn, was developed in response to the popularity of the European sports cars among Americans. The Thunderbird focused more on driver comfort rather than speed, and was not a direct rival to either the Corvette or the European sports cars. It makes a series of lyrical appearances in the Beach Boys song Fun, Fun, Fun. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more of this content, please make sure to comment, like this video, and most of all, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, fix it with Jeff.